So we were really pleased to be able to continue to preserve it and offer it to the community.
So I did not remember or did not hear before that you had been offered the farm at the time that you came here a dozen years ago. Do you think
Oh,
Bob and Lee at that point were so tired of it they were offering it to anybody who came into the bed and breakfast?
oh, I'm sure it was a standard line at breakfast. You should buy the farm. I think we might have thought we were special.
Yeah.
Oh, they picked us. Oh, and be flattered. But I'm sure the next couple that came in and took our room was offered the same thing. I'm kidding, of course. But I don't know. Maybe they knew something. You know, they're wise people. Maybe they saw something in us and realized, hey, these people could do it, because we were enthusiastic about kind of everything that they were doing. Even the fact that, you know, physically it was breaking them down. Financially, they were running about 12 different businesses. I guess everybody who gets into farming thinks they're going to be somehow special.
Uh-huh.
And in 2 months, we've discovered that, yeah, we are not special. So, yeah.
So tell us about the business of Hollister Hill Farm in 2020 when you bought it, and then I'll ask you about what it is now, how you've changed it.
Well, for those of you who know Bob and Lee's story, you know, they switched and went into Holstein cows, and the price of milk dropped, and they had converted the whole barn, and I don't know how many they were milking, 70 or 80.
A lot, yeah.
A lot. And the bottom fell out in the market, and they were in trouble. And then they started 20 years ago, they started the bed and breakfast, with, you know, to sustain, and really that helped them sustain the farm. And, you know, that's our plan too. We saw that immediately, the you know, the agritourism and other events, and just, you know, anecdotally, people's reaction to us in buying the farm is, you know, how I would say 90% of people said, "Oh, you're living our dream." You know, everyone once romanticizes to a certain extent, but the life is true about being on a farm. So, and you know, I think you probably know this too. Behind Hawaii and Florida, Vermont is the nation's third favorite wedding destination.
Huh.
So there, you know, and a lot of people discovered that having weddings on farms. So we're hoping to expand that because, excuse me a second, I have sawdust from the farm in my throat. we ran over here after doing our chores.
Yes, we forgot it was short time when we committed to 5 o'clock. So
Right.
So we did them a little early. Everyone got fed early, and their food got thrown at them, and they looked at us kind of. So we need that too. You know, one of the things that Bob and Lee were, you know, they didn't tell us what to do when they said, when you buy the farm, it's yours, but we hope you will, you know, continue to sell raw milk, for example, and the rest of it. And, you know, having a micro dairy and not doing any pasteurization so you can sell other products, or just doing it on a small scale isn't economically viable. I think it costs us more to produce the milk than we sell it for, but we see that kind of as a community service and, if you will, a loss leader. But people also love it, and we don't want to disappoint those people. You know, I had personally never tried raw milk, and
now we can't get enough of it.
yeah, I can't believe I ever drank the other stuff. And so we're pleased to do that, but we do need other income streams. You know, we're going to expand and do some other things.
We're planting an orchard.
Planting an orchard.
Wow.
We plant 60 trees in the spring. We're going to, you know, unfortunately, we have 4 children, and I don't mean that as having 4 children. I mean, unfortunately, they took all of the bed and breakfast rooms. We have to find other ways. We do have Bob and Lee called the little house. It's kind of a self-contained. It was actually a mother-in-law suite, but they've been renting it. It's a great place, and we're looking at doing 2 other what's the word? But ancillary buildings that are connected to the house until our kids go to college. We hope, and then we can offer the rest of the rooms. And then, you know, doing other things. We hope to do events. We'd love to host like summer concerts, and, you know, but you asked about 2020, and you know, COVID's killed it.
Yeah.
It was killing the lights, and we know that. We're just hanging on. and trying to make the farming part. We would really like to be self-sustaining. We hired a local guy who lives. You can see his house from where we're sitting. Jordan Howe, who is loves farming, has been attached to this farm. His parents worked here before the Lights owned it, which seems like everybody who comes over here has worked here at some point or other. And as another aside, the other thing I've discovered about Vermont, as opposed to cities where there's 6 degrees of separation, around Marshfield there's 1 degree of separation.
Crazy.
It's great. It's fantastic. Anyway, Jordan is just amazing and knows how to do everything on a farm, and things you wouldn't expect you needed, like welding and construction. And so we're really lucky to have him. And we're trying to restore it and bring it back, fix everything up and just neat and tidy it. And the goal is to make it self-sufficient, including his salary, and just have that. To us would be a success in 2021 if we could get it, if we could get there. And those of you who know farming know that's a tall order, but there's a lot of potential. Our pork is so good, and the way it's raised, and we're going to have some chickens laying eggs, and we're also making partnerships. Some of you may know we partnership with Local Donut, who drops off donuts every Saturday morning, and we just I'm gonna mangle their name, but Mangia Bread in Montpelier, they brought over their first order of bread, which is fantastic.
That's excellent.
Yesterday, so we're going to start selling that. We hope to be able to provide. We'll change the store so that somebody can come by and pick up a whole meal. That would be a real goal, and they can look and see where the food came from. When we have the vegetables and the fruit and the berries, they'll be able to just walk outside and see where their food came from, which is, I think, a connection a lot of people, will appreciate, and some even crave.
Excellent. Well, Hollister Hill Farm is perched up on Hollister Hill, as one might guess, in Marshfield, just a mile or two from Plainfield Village and from Goddard College, which has also played a strong role in attracting a lot of back-to-the-land type people to this area who have settled down. But tell us more about the physical property that you got when you purchased Hollister Hill Farm. How many acres is it? You've got the barn there. You've got the big house that's now fully inhabited by your 4-kid family and yourselves. What do you have?
I can never. It's arguably 204 or 208 acres, and it's about almost 50-50 pasture and woods. Maybe it's more like 60-40 pasture to mixed woods. There's a lot of sugar bush, which is fantastic. We plan to tap as many trees as possible, which is another crazy experience we've had, that people actually volunteer to work at sugaring. And the first couple, I said, well, what would you like in exchange? Oh, nothing. We just want to do it, which is unheard of for us coming from cities.
And I will interject that being Canadian, having the opportunity to make our own maple syrup is pretty fantastic. I mean, Neil doesn't go to any restaurant without taking his own little maple syrup with him. So
yeah, forever. So
wait, which of you is Canadian?
Both of us.
Both of you are Canadian. Okay. Yeah. Canada bests Vermont in terms of maple syrup production, but you're contributing now to the Vermont score.
Right.
Yeah, you. For those of you who are interested, you should look up. 3 or 4 years ago, there was a heist of the maple syrup repository in
Montreal, wasn't it?
In Quebec. You can't make this up. Somebody stole like 9 million gallons of maple syrup that were saving, to balance the market, like OPEC. Yeah. And I just imagine all these Quebecois with their toques on and driving the big tanker trucks away. But that, as an aside, that you should look that up. It's funny. There should be a movie. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, you talked about getting to know the people here, and the what did you say, 1 degree of separation that you have, or 2 degrees of separation for everybody here. Tell us about how some of the neighbors have greeted you and welcomed you to the community.
Oh, it's been fantastic. I mean, even we moved around the holidays, and just people stopping by, dropping off cookies, being very welcoming. Even my kids noticed it and said, yeah, wow, Mom, people are just so welcoming and friendly here, which is nice. I mean, people were in DC too, but it's just a different feel, being in an urban community, and just people are incredibly welcoming. And All the neighbors have been fantastic too. And then people that are visiting the store, introducing themselves and really wanting to get to know us and sharing a little bit of their stories too, which is really, really nice.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Well, I would like to welcome you to the area in a way that I think many back to the landers have benefited from their neighbors learning skills from their neighbors. And Catherine, Neil said that you were interested in making yogurt. I make yogurt out of your milk. And what I'd like to do is show you the yogurt, tell you how I make it, and then open it up for any other yogurt makers who happen to be on the call to give me tips and to give you tips. How's that sound?
I would love that.
Okay, let me just run to the kitchen and grab the yogurt because I really need a visual aid for this. You talked about the wonders of drinking raw milk. I would say that you're not only drinking raw milk, you're drinking Jersey milk, and that's pretty special for the fat content. You'll be able to see that in this yogurt. Just a moment.
Carl's disappeared. Another prerequisite is having a beard in Vermont. I tried to shave my beard off, and there was another beard underneath, so I gave up. Forget it. Yeah.
So this is yogurt. This is a quart of yogurt made from your milk, and I don't know how well you can see it. I'll see if I can get a little more light on it. But out of the quart, the butterfat is from here on up.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. It's very white.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the way I make this yogurt, I like to say that it's somewhere between clabbered milk and yogurt because I am using the raw milk, and so whatever's in the milk is contributing to the culture, and it's also at a little bit lower temperature than is ideal for yogurt. When I used to make yogurt on a ranch in California, we went by the books that said 104 degrees Fahrenheit was the right temperature. My oven with a pilot light on is about 95 degrees on. So I just take your milk, I redistribute it to these quart jars. You fill your half-gallon jars very generously. So when I buy 2 gallons of milk, then I generally get about 9 quarts of yogurt out of it. And 2 gallons, yeah. And I add yogurt from Butterworks Farm. I know that's live culture. Just a spoonful, big spoonful or two of it in each one. Shake it up, have the lids on tight, put it in the oven for 24 hours at around 95 degrees, and it comes out yogurt. And it's very forgiving. If I take it out in 18 hours, if I take it out in 30 hours, it's more or less the same, maybe a little more acidic, a little less acidic, a slightly different texture, but it's very forgiving.
Wow, that sounds easy.
Yeah. You just need to find a place that's the right temperature.
Yeah.
Or make a place. People use light bulbs and thermostats attached to light bulbs in insulated boxes.
Oh, right. Wow.
We try that.
I would like, the place I used to make it on the ranch in California, we had a big chest freezer with a light bulb in it and a thermostat. And we would make, I don't know how many, maybe 20 gallons of yogurt at a time in there.
Just don't try it with an LED.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You want an inefficient light bulb.
Right. We're going to need that because I've never seen our oven free for 24 hours. So we'll have to go the light bulb in the box route. Right.
So I would like to, let's see, Paul Haskell has said that one can use an Instant Pot to make yogurt, and iPad has said that they make kefir from it. And Mark Vermont says that they make yogurt too. So anyone else who has experience making yogurt or kefir or something similar, you want to unmute yourself and give any tips?
I want to know how you make chocolate pudding. My kids would love that.
Yeah.
Was that Mark?
Hi. We are over in East Calais, so I come over the mountain to get milk pretty regularly. The chocolate pudding is pretty easy. You mix in, it's cornstarch, eggs, milk, a little maple syrup. I think that's it. And you heat it until it comes to a simmer, and you stir for about a minute after it comes to a simmer. and then you add in a little bit of vanilla and you chill it. And it's excellent. I can send the actual recipe to you, or maybe drop it off next time I come get milk.
Oh, please do.
Yeah, that sounds good.
I'm sorry, what is your first name?
I'm Tegan. This is Mark. And we have two boys that are miraculously quiet for the moment in the other room.
I think I've met you at some point in the your name is familiar. I think I in the store at some point.
I probably you met my mother.
Oh, did I?
I met her first. She was here to visit, and she said, "There's a new owner at the farm." And I said, "I didn't know there was a new owner." And she's like, "Yeah, I met him when I went to get milk." So you met my mom.
Your mom one-upped you.
And then with the yogurt, like I have a cooler that isn't a great cooler, but I fill it with warm water. And then I put my jars of yogurt to be in there and just seal it up for the night. And in the morning, it holds the temperature really well. So
Wow. What temperature water do you use?
Warm, hot. It's not too hot to put my hand in, but not cold. It's not an exact science.
Yeah, it's forgiving. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you, Tegan. Anybody else out there making kefir yogurt that want to unmute yourself and give some tips?
Well, I'm also curious what the difference with yogurt and kefir and skyr. How do you pronounce that? Is SKYR.
Leslie Bean, do you want to talk about SKYR?
Yeah, skyr is a much thicker substance. It's very yogurt-like, but it's a lot thicker, and it has like 15 grams of protein per serving.
Wow.
Is that the Icelandic kind of yogurt? Is that where that
Yes,
comes from?
exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
And how do you make it?
It's actually a 2-day process. You have to heat up your milk. I learned that I can't do that in my Instapot because I burn it. So one thing learned, but I do that on the stove and then put my milk in the Instapot and use rennet and is there anything else? I haven't made it in quite some time. And then just cook it in the Instapot and strain it. There is a lot of leftovers, so it's not a efficient thing unless you have a use for your whey or whatever you want to call the leftovers. But it's very thick, very tasty. I like skyr a lot better than yogurt. It's more on the idea of Greek yogurt.
Right. I talked to, I think there's maybe somebody from Butterworks Farm, some small yogurt maker here in Vermont about how to make Greek yogurt, and they described a similar process where you make a yogurt and you strain it. And I thought, I don't want to lose all that content, but the thick stuff is really good.
Yes, it certainly is.
And kefir is just a little thinner, correct? Is that right?
We make kefir from your milk just very easily. In the bottom of our little jars, there are some kefir grains that look kind of like cottage cheese. And we just scoop out a couple teaspoons of that for a quart jar and pour your milk on top and cap it and leave it on the counter overnight, and voila, in the morning. It can't be easier.
And we give it to the dog.
It's pretty clabbered. So I've strained it to make kefir cheese too, which is like a thinner cream cheese type of condiment. And so we put it in everything, smoothies and ranch dressing and you name it. And it just can't be easier.
We give it to the dog.
We have a black lab who comes to visit also, and he enjoys it as well.
Well, we have a black lab, and we know they're indiscriminate anyway.
Oh yeah.
I don't know how many of you, as an aside, are looking at the chat here, but there's been a joke about how many Vermonters does it take to change a light bulb. And I like this one. One changes the bulb, and the other 9 stand around talking about how good the old one used to be. That's funny. And what is clabbered? Is that like coddled? I love the word.
It's like a thin yogurt. You can cut it with a knife and you can look at it and it actually cuts through. Sometimes it becomes thinner depending on how long I leave it on the counter or how cold the house is.
You could also make cheese.
Or hot, yeah. And if you put it in a cheesecloth and hang it, the whey comes out and it just gets much thicker. And I mean, it can't be better. There's so many living enzymes in it, and you name it, lots of vitamin C even. And yeah, we've done that for years. And I'm here visiting my daughter and her children, and I'm from Montana, and we're used to having raw milk there too, and even goats. So goat's milk is also really wonderful.
Yeah,
But
clabbered milk, as I understand it, is just raw milk that you bring up to a warm temperature, or leave at a warm temperature if you never cool it down from the cow, and let the natural whatever's in there turn it more solid.
yeah, it'll happen on its own.
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful.
And I have not done that with your milk, but I was thinking the other day, next time I pick up some milk, I think I want to take half a quart, just take a pint aside and run it through the same process, but not add any yogurt culture to it and see what happens.
Well, I hope all of you aren't going to be disappointed. We're having to switch to plastic jugs. And I know some of you will be disappointed. We cannot get and Carl, by the way, I noticed you had a jar there. I'm going to assume that was your own ball jar, not one you got from the farm.
This is a quart jar. You don't,
oh,
you
okay.
don't distribute those.
You're clear then. You're fine. But we
can't keep them.
We can't keep them, and we can't get them anymore. And when you do see them, they're so expensive. So
we end up throwing out milk.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, we have to throw away milk because we don't have jars to put it in. And we do, we do have 60 pigs that love the milk with their grain. And one of the reasons our pork is so good, I think, is because they get that milk. And they always get that milk. But on top of that, a couple of times we've had to pour out 5 gallons because we have the bulk tank there that keeps it at 4 degrees centigrade, but we can't keep it for more than 2 days. And there's been times people have brought bottles in and we've gone in the back and cleaned them out and bottled milk immediately. But and also economically, they're with the lid's $1 a piece each, and the jars are almost over $4, sometimes $5 now. So it's almost a $6.50 thing. And I know they're so scarce. All the stores around here, Plainfield Hardware, nope. I had to, last time I got them, I special ordered them from the Ace Hardware in Barrie. Morgan's? Mason's? No. Nelson's? I don't know. But, and I said, oh, well, I'll have some more. And they said, no, you got the only 2. So wow. I got the only 2 flats of 6 bottles. So we've kind of been forced. And one of the ways that we got the idea is we were over in, I guess East Berlin. No, not East Berlin. Is there actually we're in East Berlin? No, we're in Berlin at the Rogers Farm Stand. I don't know if you know it, and I think they milk a lot.
Berlin.
West Berlin,
right?
Okay.
The good Berlin. And they put them in these because I looked online at the jugs, and this is another way of connecting and how helpful they've been. It was. I couldn't find the jugs for less than $1.25 or something. And I called, I can't remember, I think it's Nate Rogers over there. And he was very helpful and said, oh, he sent me to this packaging company in Maine, and they had them much cheaper in bulk. And then we had to order labels, 5,000 labels to make the price go down. That's the thing about farming. There's nothing costs less than $50 and nothing weighs less than 50 pounds. It's all conspiring against your back and your wallet, but it's so fun and so fulfilling. I'll say that.
Yeah.
Well, we have a lively chat with lots of questions there. I'm going to pick them thematically rather than in chronological order. There's a question about quarts. Are you now, or can you now sell in quarts? Was that a legal decision or just a business decision to sell in half gallons rather than quarts?
It's something we inherited from Bob and Lee, just the half gallons. I don't see why we couldn't do quarts. I can check with the packager about getting, some quart bottles. We'll be filling them ourselves. So it would be the same, recyclable plastic jugs. And I can call them on. That's a good idea because Catherine's been siphoning off cream, and she probably, if we're bottling more, after 2 days, or 3 days, we have to rotate it and either give it to the pigs. But Catherine's like to siphon off
I love making the butter.
but we shake it in ball jars.
My arm gets sore.
But someone asked, can we do raw milk butter? And I understand we can't without a whole bunch more changes to the farm and a whole different level of health inspections and all of that sort of thing. But I've put in a call to the department, the proper department.
I mean, if we can, we will. I mean,
yes.
We love it. I love it. And we'll get a churn. But I think there's just some more hoops to jump through to do it.
Yeah. We would love to offer more products. Absolutely.
Can you sell raw milk cream? Raw cream?
I don't see why not, because it's right there on the top of the jar already. So if we siphon it off and put it in a jar, and Catherine, she siphoned some off last week, and she was saving it for herself, and she put it in quart jars and put it in the door. And
unlabeled.
And
they were gone.
And she went back in the morning, it was gone. So somebody must have thought our raw milk was really thick and fatty because they took home cream. We didn't hear from them though, so I guess they were all right.
Okay. We had another question about your daily milk production these days.
You go ahead.
No, how much are we?
Well, gallons
gallons?
wise, no, it's not 10 gallons. We have 3 cows that can milk right now, but one just gave birth, so she freshened, and she's letting down before we even get her hooked up and milk all over the milk room. But and another one that we dried off because she's due in about a month. So we've got 2 milkers going, and I don't know what we get. I would say each time we milk probably 6 to 8 gallons. And for those of you who've been over, we have to keep the milk above the paddle, otherwise it will freeze. So that's always a dance too, to keep it above the paddle. And we're very happy to sell bulk milk as well. But you just need to call the farm and arrange for it, because there's always that dance between making sure it's covering the paddle so it doesn't freeze.
And what quantity does it become bulk milk?
5 gallons.
Okay. 5 gallons or more, give a call to the farm and you'll fill them up. Okay. Yep. We've got a question from Andy Christensen. He said that he fought many battles with Bob and Lee. I think that means together with Bob and Lee rather than against them for fair milk prices. And he was wondering if you're going to be involved at all with groups like Rural Vermont, and said back in the 80s when his daughter was about 2 years old, she had her first political milk dumping action at Hollister Hill Farm.
Oh, really?
Cool.
And her daughter, his daughter seconds the question. Are you going to get involved in Rural Vermont or other local political organizations? And I ask that with consciousness that the Grange has its origin as a political organization for farmers to take on monopoly capitalists who are exploiting them.
Oh, well, we would certainly entertain invitations. We're definitely not against it. And we certainly see the need. If these farms are going to survive into the future, they need special dispensation, and I think it seems to me they get it to some degree, but it needs a little more. I mean, I don't know who should bear the cost of it. Obviously, you can't run a farm as a charity, and nobody should have to pay unfairly. And I don't understand all the ins and outs of it, but we're certainly interested in learning about it. That's for sure.
And I think we're learning a lot right now about it. And I think as we learn more, I sense that we will get involved.
But, I'm seeing comments down here at the bottom, Carl, that bring up an interesting point, is the kittens. And I think if we just converted everything over to kittens, we'd be fine.
If we had a kitten farm, we'd be fine.
Just breed kittens, and we get calls all the time for kittens, and we have 2, but one is a female, so we have to keep her. And we talked about this the last time. The problem is there's only one tomcat as far as we know, and that's people call him Henry, but I call him Hank the Tank because he's enormous. He's easily the size of one of our market pigs, and the stories about Hank are amazing. And the thing is, whenever I mention him, I'll go over to the farm store and he'll be there. It's happened like 3 times.
Weird.
And once we saw him down at Sarah Galbraith's house, and then I went back to the farm and there he was. I have no idea how he did it. He's like a magical cat, but he's also the father of every kitten in our farm, I'm pretty sure.
So what's the going rate for kittens? How much do you get per pound?
It depends what kind of car you're driving, actually. And Bob taught me that if it's imported, it's $100. If it's domestic, it's 60.
Okay. Well, there's a lot of questions about goats. I think maybe with the idea, there's a book you may have come across called "Real Vermonters Don't Milk Goats." But the subtext is all these back to the landers who moved to Vermont do milk goats. When are you going to get goats? People want to know.
Well, we're probably going to try milking our pigs first. We are going to get pigs in the spring.
No, goats.
Goats, I mean, and I see that someone asked if we surplus goats, and the answer is absolutely. But we're kind of in love with the Nigerian dwarf goats. Friends of ours have a herd of them, and you know, not that we want a barn full of pets, but they're amazing. And we'd love if the Nigerian dwarf goats, or you know, any kind of other friendly goat, that because we get so many visitors, so we think it'd be great too. I'm definitely interested, so please let me know. And we're also, I don't know if we told you this the last time, Carl, we're hoping to get some sheep, because we've been talking to Kate Smith and someone just said that, Mark, Marshfield School of Weaving. We're talking to Kate Smith about bringing on a herd of sheep so we can provide some wool, and of course lamb, because we like lamb. So that would be, we would love that, and she was pretty excited about that, about having it that close. I think she called it a farming basket. I think that was the term she used, where which I took to mean that kind of everything is close by, because now she has to go a long way to get her wool. I think she gets most of it from New Zealand, which makes sense, but she would love to make things from wool here.
There's a connection with the farm too, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, there's a connection. As you may know, that before the lights, Virginia Stranahan, I believe she either donated the land to the weaving school and one of the barns that the weavers in now, or sold it at a very inexpensive price and basically started the school. I think I may have my history wrong, but that's how I understand it. So there's a strong connection, and they're actually weaving for us. This is very exciting. They're weaving for us a stair runner for our front hallway.
Nice.
Because and we're really we're thrilled, because when she brought out the buckets of samples, I mean, the colors and the quality of what they're doing on those wooden looms is amazing. It's really great.
Well, I think it'd be interesting to know a little bit more about what goes through your head as you consider these various farming decisions. I'd like to return to the question of the goats, and you said you were attracted to the Nigerian dwarf goats. What is it about the breed that attracts you?
Their size and their friendliness.
Disposition.
Their disposition. Good word, honey.
Yeah.
By the way, Tim Schwartz has suggested we'd make more money for people trying to see us milk our cats. Thank you, Tim. We'll put that in the business plan.
Yes.
I think the size and disposition, also in the research I've done and the books I'm reading now, I can't believe they're on my nightstand, but about goats, is that they, the Nigerian dwarf, are pretty versatile as well. We'd like to get the herd to do brush clearing. Susan Abbott, as you may know, the painter who's our next door neighbor, just asked me by text yesterday if that they could come over and entertain her and eat the brambles in her backyard. And the idea of having a goat herd that we can loan out to people to clear brush here is it's wonderful. And I've seen them play too. We visited Sharon, who's in East Montpelier. I can't remember her last name, but she has a goat farm. She did. Now she has only a couple. And she was milking. I don't think we may milk but we don't. And that's the other thing. I believe the Nigerian dwarf you can milk as well.
They're good milkers.
And some of the other breeds, the bigger ones, they're less friendly, I suppose. And because we get so many visitors, we're always thinking about what kind of animal would also be pleasing to people and their children. And yes.
And we just added 2 donkeys. So the donkeys are going to watch over the sheep and the goats in the spring, but we have donkeys in the barn now. We have 2 of them.
All right.
Nice.
Tim adds that Montpelier used goats to get rid of at least some of the poison ivy on the bike path by the high school. There was a goat farmer who took care of them.
Yeah.
And if you're going to be
wow.
lending out
Yeah,
the
they're
goats
wonderful.
to clear brush for people, I would recommend that you not make a lot of claims about what they will do. I borrowed 3 goats one summer to take down a burdock forest that I have from somebody who swore up and down that there was nothing they loved more than burdock. And I'm not doubting her that on her land, I'm sure they went after the burdock, but here they ate everything but the burdock.
Yeah, it would be more not to let them near our orchard. So
Yeah, right.
that
Right.
yeah.
That'd be bad.
We had a question wanting to get to know your history a little bit more. What did you do before you came to Vermont? And maybe you could also talk about your off-farm work right now.
So you want to talk about your work first, or?
Well, Catherine still has a job, thank goodness. I was, as I mentioned, I was in right. I was in journalism for a long time, working all over. At one point, we had a design build company where we did residential custom builds and design. And then my last position was I was a PR manager for a major automaker. And when I am shoveling out the pig pens, I often think that my job really hasn't changed that much.
Dealing with emissions.
That's right. Yeah, it's still the same product that I'm peddling, basically. So that's my history. And Catherine, you tell them what you do.
Yeah, and so when Neil said before, COVID killed it, I realized there was also a silver lining in COVID in that I could keep my job, which actually made this move possible. I remember when we were talking to Bob and Lee, we said, well, if Catherine can keep her job, then we think we can make this happen. So I work for a Network for Good, which is it's a for-profit and a nonprofit, but we work with small to mid-sized charities to help them with fundraising. So help them to learn how to fundraise from individual donors. And I work a lot with foundations too on a capacity building program to help small nonprofits that are just getting started, and helping teach them how to fundraise and become successful so they can do the good work that they're doing. So I'm pretty excited that I can keep doing that work. And sometimes Neil will drag me out to the barn at 4:30 to help with the milking if I don't have a meeting. So it's kind of nice, I have that flexibility to be remote working and be able to enjoy the beauty of this place. It's pretty phenomenal.
Well, we're getting close to the end of our hour, although we did start late. Neil and Catherine, if you're willing to stick around a little past 6, we could go a little beyond 6. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. And I would like to ask people, this is the biggest crowd that we've gotten to one of these online events here at the Grange. I would like to ask people who are here what other topics that you would like to see us tackle, particularly ones that are related to food and farming, because as I said, the Grange has a history of working for fairness for farmers. And that would be very interesting. So if you can think, I see a lot about rural Vermont from the Christensen family. Maybe we can get somebody in from rural Vermont in this next year to talk about their current work, because they're busy with a legislative session going on right now. But if you have other suggestions, please go ahead and put them in the chat box. That would be great. Any other questions for Neil and Catherine?
Well, while people are thinking of questions, to be polite, I'm teasing. Andrew, yes, we'd love to have you visit once the pandemic is over. And Zoe, I appreciate your comments as well. I'm really seeing that. I mean, we're so lucky that Catherine has a job, and we had some surplus from moving to DC real estate to here that's enabled us to do this. So we know how, first of all, how lucky we are, but also how different. There's so many small farms that have gone under, and having only done this for 2-3 months now, I can see the struggle, and I actually can't imagine not having I can't imagine how incredibly difficult and heartbreaking it would be to not have the opportunity to diversify, to not having any capital to do that. And it's heartbreaking. So, which is why this farm is even more important, and the responsibility we feel to keep it going. And of course, if it's hard for us to make it sustainable, I can't imagine what it's like for someone without any surplus capital.
We talk about it every day.
Yeah, right.
And we're still learning, but yeah, it is tough.
Mark and Tegan ask if you have any questions for us about the area.
Oh, do you have any questions? Oh yeah, I do have a question. What's with the area code? Every time I dial a number, I'm told to add 802, and then I add 802, then I'm told to add a 1 in front of 802, and then I'm told that I don't need the 1 or the 802. I dial everybody's number like 6 times. Can someone please help me sort it out?
Someone want to take that on? This is for your landline phone, not for your cell phone.
Yes, it's the cell phone's not a problem.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's frustrating. There are these local calling areas that are not discrete units, but they have to do with how far from where you are at the time with your landline phone you are. And within the local calling areas, you only dial the what is it, 5 plus 3, 4 plus 3, the 7 digits. But elsewhere in Vermont, you need to dial 1 plus 802. I've never known a place that I can dial just without the 1 and the 802 and everything else, but perhaps that's the case as well.
Well, thanks, Carl. That really cleared it up.
Yeah. No, it's just trial and error. There are places, I live 10 miles from Goddard College where I work, and there are places that I call without 802 from home that I can't call without 802 from Goddard College, but to call Goddard, I don't use 802.
Oh, so basically everyone's just as messed up as we are, which is comforting.
Yeah.
It's not put on for your benefit.
Tim, what did you say?
What's that?
I just said that this difficulty is not particularly for the Dunlops' benefit.
Okay.
Everybody gets to experience this.
All right, good.
Good to know.
I have not missed having a landline just because of this sort of stuff.
Right.
Yeah. I think it also is used to try to mimic the confusion of zip codes.
No.
In East Montpelier, I think we have about 5 or 6 different zip codes in our town.
Oh, that, yeah.
We have like Barrie and Montpelier and so forth. So it's we want to make sure the phones are as confusing as the zip codes are.
Well, good. I'm glad it's just a Vermont quirk. I enjoy it. When we were leaving DC, people said, "Oh, you have to watch the movie Funny Farm with Chevy Chase," and everyone's probably seen it. And if you're not familiar with the story, because I think it's from the '80s, but Chevy Chase, I believe he's a journalist, so like me, and lived in, I think it's set in DC. And they go to Vermont so he can write a novel, which is a goal of mine. I've actually written 5 novels, but I'm as of yet unpublished. And that's on my to-do list, of course. But they travel to Vermont with his wife, and she's never written anything. And he struggles, and everything he writes is terrible. And he infuriates all the locals, and she ends up writing a bestseller. And so I haven't written a thing since I got here, but Catherine's on Facebook every day with everybody she knows, and is getting likes up and down all over up the yin yang. And so I think this story is living in us as we speak. So it's Funny Farm here.
Yeah, well, I've been putting. I haven't done Facebook much in the past, but with the farm, I have been posting stories, and people love it. I mean, right now, people just need some kind of outlet, and just telling stories about our wood boiler and The donkey's arriving. We had a calf a couple months ago. Just people love just hearing these stories and the experiences that we're having. So that's been really fun.
Are they also at your website, hollisterhillfarm.com, or does one have to go to your Facebook page to find them?
The Hollister Hill Farm Facebook page isn't quite, it's still with Lee and Bob. I'm still trying to figure that out with Facebook.
Oh.
It's actually my personal Facebook page, which is Catherine Parsons Dunlop. You're welcome to check it out.
Catherine Parsons Dunlop?
Yep, I'm on
Okay.
Facebook at Catherine Parsons Dunlop. The Hollister Hill Farm, once I get it figured out, we'll be doing that. And then on Instagram, it's Hollister Hill Farm. I'm still trying to figure out Instagram. I'm not an Instagrammer. But Local Donut is, and they've been great about promoting their donuts here. So that's been fun. And people, and actually my in-laws are on the call. You'll see Jim Dunlop and Valerie Dunlop. I think it's great for them to be able to follow what the kids are doing and stuff because they're in Canada. So I think my father-in-law always has witty comments to the stuff I post. So that's been
Those
fun.
are dad jokes.
They're
Dad jokes once
Grandpa
removed.
jokes.
Yeah, they're grandpa jokes. My dad jokes are bad, but grandpa jokes are horrible.
Can I say a word in my defense?
Oh, there's my father, everybody. This is Jim Dunlop.
You've been attacked, so we better give you that courtesy.
You have no idea how much we appreciate Catherine's post on her Facebook page. It keeps us in touch with what they're doing, what the grandkids are doing. It's a highlight of our day to check up on the latest doings at the farm.
We've got a question.
Yeah.
We've got a question from a neighbor, Terry Allen, who photographs and does a lot of local photography, contributes a lot to the East Montpelier Town Report, for example. And she's wondering about visitor etiquette. She likes to come up to the farm and take pictures. What do you want visitors not to do and to do while they're there?
Well, we had someone try to steal the kittens, so please don't do that. Jordan found them in their car and asked them to put them back, which they did. So the only thing is, the animals don't like loud noises. And so, don't run and don't yell. But one of the greatest parts about this farm for us is that people feel free to walk in and look at the animals or feed the animals. Please don't feed the animals. But otherwise, there really aren't any rules. You can go wherever you want, and I'd love, if you take photos, please share them, and you share them with us if you have a mind to. But we believe that's one of the gifts this farm is to the community, is the ability to go in and purchase food that you can see where it comes from, but also just hang with the animals, which a lot of people find really comforting and fun, including us.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And I love that people just walk into the barn and just enjoy the animals and spend. That was why we were happy to add the donkeys. We have a cat right now who's super sweet. So we I get joy out of that, just seeing people in the barn and being able to spend time with the animals.
So just go into the farm store and then continue on to get into the barn.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay.
Yep. During, what is it? 9 to 5.
9 to 5, yeah.
9 to 5. Yeah. Please do. It's wonderful.
And we've been offering free coffee on Saturdays too. So if you're in on a Saturday and want to grab a coffee, please help yourself.
Yeah, we're about to enter a partnership with a coffee roaster who lives in Plainfield, and we tried his coffee today. It was wonderful. So we'll be brewing that and offering that, but we'll also be selling it. I really see a lot of value in these partnerships with people who don't have a venue to sell the things they make, or they struggle for a venue. And I think that these partnerships we'll see, but it feels to me like they're really a great way for us to go and to offer more things and to offer these people a place to sell their products.
Yeah, we're gonna have fresh flowers in the spring.
Oh yeah, we're gonna. I'm sorry, I've forgotten the woman's name, but her flowers are beautiful, and she's going to start selling bouquets and posies and things at the farm, which will be really terrific.
Do you do any mail order business?
We will. I mean, we have sent a few things in maple
A
syrup.
little bit of maple syrup. We're sold out now.
Well, you mentioned the website, and it's being revamped. And for those of you who've dealt with a website, it's not a short process. And doing e-commerce is really difficult and intricate and requires a lot of programming. So we're going to do that slowly, bring that along. But the website will be changing, and we'll post a lot of information there, and the rest of it.
Okay. Well, very good. Well, once more, welcome to the. We have one more comment from Mary Shernock. She welcomes not only you but everyone on the call to join the Grange for the community potluck, which is very good. It's the first Saturday of the month on non-COVID times. It's up at the Grange in Berlin, and starts at 6 o'clock, and then there's a wonderful dance afterwards.
Yes.
Oh, as soon as the something pandemic is over. Is that the same as the COVID pandemic, or is that?
That's an expletive deleted pandemic.
That's right.
Yeah.
Cartoon swearing, Mary calls it.
Thank you, Mary. That's wonderful.
Someone asked about the goats that are rented out to drop in on Zoom calls. Is that
Yeah, I have seen that. That's $125. We should do that.
But it's a nonprofit. It's actually a customer of Network for Good, the company I work for, because I think they're a nonprofit. If it's the same group I'm thinking of, where you can have a goat to your Zoom meeting, it's pretty cool.
Huh. A lot of people have their dogs and cats to their Zoom meetings for free.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and children.
Yeah, but it's for a good cause. It's for a good cause.
We could have the donkeys on there. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
They're so benign. I encourage you to come and visit the donkeys. They're just so sweet and calming, and wonderful.
I hope the donkeys would comment at appropriate points in some of the meetings I've been to.
Yeah, you have some colleagues like I used to have, Tim.
Speaking of donkeys, they're protecting against something. Have you seen bear up there?
No, not yet, but we've heard about it. Apparently, they run in the culvert through the back here. I guess it's a creek bed. It's dry most of the year, and they go up and down there because Jordan, who lives behind us, has seen them, along with an owl that a barred owl. That if you're familiar with the call, it's that "Who Cooks for You?"
Yep.
And we've heard them, but we want to see them. Love owls.
On my WGDR radio program, I recently interviewed a Vermont journalist who wrote about libertarians who descended into Grafton, New Hampshire, with the idea of remaking it as a libertarian town. And it's called A Libertarian Walks into a Bear. And in that, he has a description of a bloody fight between an guard alpaca, who got a bear trapped, who was trying to get away from him when the bear was going after the sheep. So alpacas, at least, are very fierce when faced with bear. I assume donkeys are pretty fierce too.
Well, someone texted Catherine a photo today of a donkey carrying the corpse of a coyote that it had killed.
Wow.
Yeah. So when you put them in with your sheep and goats, apparently they're pretty fierce protectors.
That's great.
Okay, well, you have given us your email address, dunlops@hollisterhillfarm.com, for folks who want to be on the Hollister Hill Farm email list. And the website again is hollisterhillfarm.com. Look for a new version of it very soon as it gets revamped. And you can find Facebook postings about the farm at Catherine's page, which is in the chat as well, Catherine Parsons Dunlap, and that's Catherine spelled with a C and no Y's or anything like that, and it just straight Catherine, Catherine Parsons Dunlap. Thank you for coming to Vermont and keeping this farm going in the traditions of people with no farming experience farming on it. And thanks for sharing your stories with us tonight, and for bringing us the joy of having that farm and the food that it provides the community.
Well, thank you for being so welcoming.
Yeah, it's been great.
It means a lot to us. And please, I didn't mean to imply that you have to buy something to come to the farm. We're very happy if you just come to the farm.
Just come and see the animals.
Just come and see the animals. No purchase necessary, as they say. Please just visit and come by anytime.
We call it our little slice of heaven.
That's right.
And we had people coming in throughout the meeting, joining us. So if you want to see the recording of this to see what you missed, then that will be at the Grange website soon, Tim. the link
Yeah,
for that?
we will post as soon as you send me the link. We will
Okay.
put it up. That's at capitalcitygrange.org. There's lots of information about the Grange there, as you might imagine, and schedules for all the things we wish were still happening. Everything from dances to church services to Afro-Caribbean dance classes. So we look forward to being back up and running one of these days. I also wanted to hope that maybe in a year or so, Neil and Catherine, that we could have you back and see how things have moved along. Because I'm sure that you will keep learning and trying new things.
Yeah, and my beard will be longer.
We'd love that. Thank you.
Yeah, that would be fantastic.
Okay. Well, thanks again, and thanks to everybody for coming. We'll end the meeting there.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you.